Hey guys, this is Chris from 3B Outdoors Club, and you're listening to the Tracks and Tackle podcast, where nature is our playground.
Hey folks, before we dive into today's episode, a quick word about something really special. Our guest today, Darren Snow, is a representative of Raised at Full Draw, and they're bringing their youth archery camps to Pennsylvania this June. These camps aren't just about target practice, they're immersive, hands-on experiences where kids learn archery, hunting safety, and outdoor ethics from passionate, experienced mentors like Darren. If you know a young person who's ready to step into the woods and gain real-world confidence, this is the great place to start. There are a couple spots left across 3 select locations we'll get to in the description of this episode, so head to raisedатfulldraw.com for more and get registered. Now, let's get to the episode. Hey there, hunting family. Welcome back to Tracks and Tackle, and we got a good one for you tonight. We are bringing back former guest and friend of the show, Darren Snow. Let me bring Darren on the stage here with us. Hey, Darren, how you doing tonight?
Doing real well, Ron. Thanks for having me and Raised at Full Draw back on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we were just talking prior to recording, and one thing that I had said to Darren last year was we wanted to have him come back on and promote the youth camps and what Raised at Full Draw is all about before the summer camps hit Pennsylvania this year. And it's about that time, it's that season. So Darren, why don't you just quick reminder for the listeners, maybe people didn't catch your episode with us last time, but why don't you introduce the audience to yourself and tell them a little bit about Raised at Full Draw?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate that. Raised at Full Draw is based out of Winterset, Iowa, and we put on youth camps. I say all over the country, but it's not really all over the country. There's just a few select states right now. Wisconsin, North Dakota, Montana, Iowa, Missouri, Michigan. Each of those states have a single camp. This year we're promoting 3 camps in Pennsylvania. One of those camps is out in Wexford, which is outside of the Pittsburgh area, and that's June 11th through the 13th. The second camp is the Felton, PA, which is East York County, Pennsylvania, and that's June the 19th through the 22nd. And the third and final camp is June the 26th to 29th, and that's Loysville, which is actually it's actually a Boy Scout camp up here in Perry County. This is for ages 11 to 17, all levels of archery, from zero experience. Hey, I just want to learn about archery, to somebody who maybe started out as a gun hunter, in the mentor program, and now, hey, I'd like to learn how to archery hunt. So it's designed around ages 11 to 17. If the youth has the hunter trapper education, great. If they don't, we can we teach the class there. And the other thing that we teach is the National Bowhunter Education Program. That National Bowhunter Education Program is also valid in all 50 states. And there are a lot of states out there that if you're going to bow hunt in their state, they want you to have completed that training.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know that just Darren and I periodically, he'll shoot me a text, or he will send me a message and tell me a little bit about what he's doing. And he's all over the place and is an excellent advocate for this program, but not just this program. I know that you do a lot of advocating for the outdoors in general, right? You're a pretty busy guy. I guess we'll go back to the beginning. Like we met last year at a 3D shoot, where we were just hanging out and flinging arrows and plucking the string, and struck up a conversation, at the tailgate of the truck, and got to know you a little bit, and found out, hey, you're another local guy, which is primarily what we do on the show. I mean, we do get guests that are from, across the nation, as we connect with people, but we really try to focus on local folks so that other local listeners can connect in and reach out and touch, what everybody's trying to do. And what you're representing is this program that started out in the Midwest, but has grown. It's moved east. And you got 3 locations this year. Did you have 3 last year? I know that you were looking at sourcing new locations, but I don't know if it was the same amount of camps.
Yeah, we were working on 3 camps. The third camp, we really only had 2 youth sign up, and it turns out it was that county's county fair week, and so timing. It was and we didn't plan that one very well. So fortunately, the youth that did sign up for that camp were able to attend the Felton camp. Had a great time. In fact, I think they're coming back again this year.
Yeah, that's a sign of success, is when you have repeat clientele, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. But when the kids are having fun and they come back out, that you did something right. And this is like ingrained in the DNA of like who we are, what we represent. We want to pass on that lineage, something was passed down to us, and that mentorship piece. So it's super important, especially for youth that might not have a mentor, or it's maybe they have a mentor, they just have a mentor that's never gone hunting and doesn't know where to start. So let's talk through what that looks like. A day at one of the camps.
Sure.
I'd love to have you hit on the difference from the growth. I don't know how many years you've been representing the organization, but I'm sure that you're getting better, faster, stronger every year you do this. So maybe you can touch on the changes year over year, and then let's walk through what a typical day looks like in one of these camps, what the kids can expect.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned something there that is kind of near and dear to me. You said mentor. Right. I am the result of someone who took the time to mentor. So for some reason, I've always wanted to be in the woods as a kid. I was fortunate enough to meet a gentleman at my church who was 15 years my senior. And he had heard that I wanted to do some hunting, but zero experience, and he mentored me. He showed me what a rub is, what a scrape is, how to find trails, tree stand placement, wind, scent. These are foundational things to those of us who have a passion for hunting, specifically whitetail deer and things like that. So I'm the result of mentorship. So this is very near and dear to me. I'm at a point in time in my life, my kids that are now coming up, and I'll be taking them out. They're getting there. They're still young, but this is really what it is all about, is providing a broader opportunity for kids to get an opportunity to go outdoors and learn what archery hunting is about. So you say a typical day in the life. The youth will arrive at noon on Thursday, and that's very typical of all of our camps nationwide. The first thing they will do is get signed in. The parents will have a bunch of sign-offs to do, and then if they have a bow, great. We'll check them to make sure that their bow is actually set up for them. If they don't have a bow, we have a trailer that has 37 bows. So we will measure them and then send them out to the trailer with paperwork. And we have a bow tech out there, one of our volunteers, that will get them set up with a bow, get the poundage right so that they can draw. And then they will be given a bow that will be theirs throughout the course of the week. All of their cell phones are bagged and tagged. There's no cell phones throughout the course of the week.
Great. Yeah, we had a little bit of delay, and so I like that, like, so bag the cell phone, get them locked into what they're doing. My side question, when you were talking about setting their bow up, what's the ratio, do you think? How often does somebody come in and the bow's just not set right for them? Because I think that, especially dealing with like junior hunters or youth, how often is that bow set up right for that shooter?
So last year at the felting camp, I think 4 or 5 kids had bows, and I think most of them were set up pretty close.
Okay.
There were 2 kids that were S3DA shooters, and so they have
set up right.
They have some they have some experience there. And what's really cool is when some of these new kids are actually mentored by even S3DA kids or kids that have come to us, through the NASP program, National Archery in Schools program. They also have some experience, and so it's really cool to see how the kids bond and they gravitate towards each other.
Yeah, no doubt. I wish Buck could have joined us tonight, because he's got his kids going through the S3DA shoots and stuff, and I mean they're immersed every weekend. They're shooting. When I call and I reach out over the house, like they're throwing arrows down the hallway of the house on a rainy night like tonight, and they can't get out. Like, those kids are into it, and it's fun to watch. To hear them tell their stories and see them go out. But the cool thing is the relationships they're making. Like, they're making friends where they're going out to these shoots, but they're seeing other kids that they saw last weekend or, from wherever you're at, and familiar faces. These kids gravitate, they build relationships, and they help one another out.
Yep. Yeah, it was interesting because I was at a shoot over at Dillsburg, and a kid was having some challenges with their bow, and I don't think their parent was there, but there was another youth right there, grabbed a set of wrenches and helped the kid get their bow, squared back away and, tuned back into where it needed to be. I think the sight had come loose or something like that. So yeah. It was the competition is there, and it's good competition because there's a lot of camaraderie that goes on, and the competition doesn't trump the camaraderie, which I think is like really, really, really cool.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, if you haven't experienced camaraderie, we use that word a lot, on the show and on our posts and our videos. But that's the thing that we're trying to share. Like, we've tasted what it's like to sit around the campfire and share stories and stretch the stories, or just share memories. Whatever we're doing when we're going outside, we're making a memory. And when you're doing it with somebody else, you are growing a bond. It's just something there that nobody else had that experience except for you and your mentor. And one of the things you had shared, Darren, when you were sharing about how you're the result of somebody that took the time to mentor somebody, you had a pretty good season last year. You were, we didn't even start off the top of the show talking about how you did, but why don't you tell me? I mean, you got a real nice buck down in in Virginia. Am I right? Was it Virginia?
Yeah. Yeah, being from Virginia, I've made a lot of friends down there, and I help a couple buddies harvest does when I'm not missing. We this past January, one of my buddies said, "Hey, come on out. We need to knock some does down on the property." And I think I took 7 shots and missed. Oh, I don't know, 7 times. And I'm not much for taking running shots. I have an ethical part, to that. And so typically when I'm taking a running shot, it's going to be a neck shot. So I'm trying to lead neck, and I know it's going to go down because I don't want to gut shoot them. Neck shot's pretty lethal. And I was standing there with the property owner, and they were doing a push through a really, really thick section of young pines and mostly like 5-foot tall briars. And this 10-point came out, and I'm standing there with the landowner, and he's like, "Yeah," he says, "we've seen this guy a bunch of times between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. on the cameras, but never daylight."
Yeah.
And he took 2 shots, and it was getting ready to go through a gut in the hill, and I had a good backdrop, and I led it a little bit less than the does earlier, and and I folded him.
That's a great feeling whenever you can connect on because especially if he shot first, he motivated that deer. It wasn't just leisurely walking off, and so when you hit him on the run, that's an awesome feeling.
It is. It's risky from the perspective of wounding an animal, and I don't want to do that, and so that's why I'm really, really particular about making sure it's going to be like a high neck shot. But the best part is my friend is about I don't know, like 3 years younger than me, and when we walked up to this deer, and I got my hands on him and stuff, I must have turned white as a sheet.
It was a dandy.
He has a logging business, and he said to me, he said, "Dude," he says, "are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, I'm fine." He goes, "You look like you're having a heart attack." I said, "No, there's no heart attack here. This is purely awe of an incredible animal and an incredible opportunity that, that he provided me to hunt on his property." And he says, "I've only ever seen that once, and I was doing CPR 3 minutes later because he had a heart attack." I said, "Nope, no heart attack here. And as you can clearly see, I'm sitting before you."
Just going to make sure the blood's still pumping through the pump station.
I think most of the blood had retreated to my brain because I was trying to process the whole thing, because it was an incredible animal.
Awesome. Well, I know we didn't touch on that out the gate, but we love those stories, and I don't know. It was fall, and I hadn't talked to you in a little while, and we don't talk regularly, but periodically we connect. And I got a text out of the blue, and it's Darren sending me a picture of this awesome harvest he got. So we love to see that, because going back to the camaraderie piece, like even in the archery shooting, like where the competition's healthy, like everybody wants to do well, you want to see your counterpart do well too. When you're out there and you're hunting or fishing or whatever it is that you like to do outdoors, that camaraderie piece is like, we celebrate, like your success is our success. We want to see it all around. Everybody have a good year.
Yeah, and we take that over to raise the full draw. It's really interesting because the kids will pump each other up. When somebody qualifies at 10 yards and they get their 10-yard tape, as soon as they get qualified, they can shoot a softball size group at 10 yards. They get their 10-yard tape, which qualifies them during free time to go to the 3D range and shoot at the 10-yard line. And when somebody gets their 10-yard tape, we celebrate that. So once they get qualified, one of the volunteers will take them over to the trailer, and then somebody will let out a really loud whistle and, big woohoo, and so got their 10-yard tape. And you know what? There's going to be kids that were on the lines that were struggling to get their 10-yard tape. And you know what? They celebrate that.
It's a motivator.
That. Yeah. And then, then when the kids are out and they're shooting the 3D, somebody makes a great shot, there's celebration. It's not like, oh man, I didn't make a good shot. They're celebrating each other. It's really interesting to watch the dynamics of these kids, regardless of their experience with a bow.
Right. Well, that leads me to my next question. And that is, from your perspective, why do you think camps like these are so important for youth, like in today's culture and today's world?
I think a couple of reasons. One, it gets them away from the electronics. There's just a lot of bad stuff that can happen on the electronics. Two, it in our society now, we've become, with a lot of people that work from home, we have become somewhat sheltered, and we have forgotten how to communicate effectively. And when you get 25, 30, 35 kids together with archery equipment, and they're all doing the same thing, there's a lot of, again, the word camaraderie that happens there, and there's a lot of celebration as people get more and more success with getting their 10-yard tape or their 20-yard tape, or how they shoot in the little 3D tournament that we have on Saturday night. So I'm going to go back to your question. Why is it so important? The kids are outdoors; they're not indoors. They're away from electronics, and they're also learning respect. And when I say respect, something that's very important to me is every morning everybody gets called to the flagpole. We raise the flag. We pledge allegiance. We have a brief prayer. We go in. We eat breakfast, and then it's learning time, and then there's free time, and then there's learning time, and then there's lunch, and then there's a little free time. So the bow hunter education course is completed in the outdoors. The hunter trapper ed, we have to do videos and slideshows and things like that. That's part of the curriculum. We do that after dinner in the evening. So the entire bow hunter education course, in preparation for the bow hunter education course test, is completely done out in the grass, in the weeds, in the trees. It's not in a building. So it's also a very different way to learn. It's also very hands-on. When we're teaching kids tree stand safety, they put on a 5-point harness. We teach them how to properly climb and then to get locked into the tree and make sure that, their tether's the right length, and, so that, in the event that they should fall, they don't fall like 8 feet before it comes tight. And so all of these things, bow, when you're shooting your bow and you're looking at arrow placement, we have a cutaway deer that shows the vitals. And so we show the different angles. So if the deer's standing this way and you're trying to double lung, where do you have to place the arrow? And we move the deer all around, from a frontal shot to a quartering towards, to a completely broadside, to a quartering away, to we'll call it Texas bullseye.
Yeah, there you go.
So they get the full training for that, and it's all completely outdoors.
And that's a lot more than, your run-of-the-mill guy like myself. I was raised in a hunting family. I started hunting as soon as I was old enough to go tag along. I was going out and tagging along and stuff. And, I went through hunter and trapper ed and all that. But, what you're explaining is a very thorough approach to shot placement to tree stand safety to just the ethics of respect for one another and respect for the outdoors. And that's why we have you come back on. I mean, we're a believer in these camps. We see the value of it. Any like cool memories from running these camps in the past? Any cool stories that you'd be wanting to share?
Yeah, for sure. There was one young man from Western Philadelphia that came to the Felton camp. Little fella. I say little fella, probably about 5 foot tall. Never shot a bow before. He had a brother there. A brother and a brother friend. We had that bow. It was one thread from popping limbs. And he worked his butt off. Thursday, I worked with him Thursday, trying to, get a good anchor point, and the bow was heavy for him. These are youth bows, but he's a little guy.
Yeah.
He worked his butt off Thursday. He worked his butt off Friday. Finally got qualified for 10 yards. Got his 10-yard tape, and I'll tell you what, brought a tear to my eye, because he worked his butt off. He got it, and then everybody celebrated him. It was great.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's about, for us. All right. So if you're a parent, if you're listening, if you know somebody that's interested, how can parents sign their kids up?
www.raisedetfulldraw.com.
Just go to the website.
Yep, you can go to the website. We have there are flyers that I've been putting in schools. I can send you this if you would like. It has a
definitely.
QR code. We are partnered with the Pennsylvania Game Commission. Their logo's in the bottom right-hand corner of it. The Game Commission wanted us to come here to put these programs on. They're trying to build back hunting. The challenge with is it's being competed with a lot of youth sports, electronics, and things like that. And we're losing our roots as a human race.
Yeah. Well, the one part you talked about was communication, be able to communicate with one another. When you were holding your flyer up, I was trying to enlarge it for those that are watching. Go ahead, hold that up again. Let me remove myself. Perfect. Yeah,
I can actually send this to you electronically if you want to put it up.
Yeah, we'll get that posted. Okay. The link's at the bottom, raisedetfulldraw.com, where you can go and register. Is there a deadline? I know that you said the first camp out towards Pittsburgh is the 11th through the 13th. So I imagine that deadline would be the earliest, right?
We say it's a June 2nd deadline. And part of the reason for that is we have to plan for the food. All that has to be ordered 2 weeks ahead. So, we will probably take, Felton people as late as about the 10th of June, and Lloydsville probably about as late as maybe the 16th of June. But yeah, if they go on there, they can go into the camps, and they'll see all the camps that we have out in the Midwest and West. But they'll also see the Felton camp and the Lloydsville camp and the Wexford camp here in Pennsylvania.
Okay. And what should participants bring?
Well, when they get signed up, they get I'll call it a camp kit. So it has a full list of what they're to bring: tent, proper clothing, a drink bottle. There's a full list when you get signed up. Part of that is being prepared. Last year it was fairly warm, and we were actually running four-wheelers out like every 20 minutes to fill water people's, water bottles and Gatorade. So there would be, one Gatorade now, one water, then one Gatorade, one water. So trying to keep the kids hydrated.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's summertime. It's starting to warm up, and it is that time of year. Okay, well, final message to parents or young archers out there. What would your final message be to them, Darren?
If you have any interest in learning about hunting and specifically or the art of archery, even if it's just hunting in general, we're going to teach archery, but everything in archery is applicable to hunting with a firearm. So if you have any interest in that, or you want to have your youth learn about the outdoors, safety, survival, tree stand safety, come sign up with us. We'd love to have you kids. We feed them well, and we teach them well. We have a great group of volunteers, people that have a passion for the outdoors and for youth in general, to bring this next generation of youth into the outdoors.
Awesome. Well, we're believers in the program. We always want to plug this. We're going to get this out here, this episode published as soon as we can, so that as many people hear this and are interested, they can go sign up. You can find them at raisedatfulldraw.com. All the information's on the website. Look for the location that you're applying for, and send your youth out, because it's a great opportunity for them to spend a weekend during the summer, a few days during the summer, and it'll be something they'll remember for a lifetime, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you and the Tracks and Tackle team have an open invitation to come out and witness it firsthand if you guys want to come out for an hour or two. And if you have time, maybe not this year, but next year, and you want to volunteer, it's people like you, Ron, that make the difference in youth and the future of hunting. Appreciate what you do here with Tracks and Tackle, and you guys have an open invitation to come out and tour the camp. One of the you pick.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Probably, honestly, Louisville's the closest to where I'm at, but if I can sneak away and stop up and visit, I'd absolutely love that. So let me look at my calendar, see if I can make it happen. I know that I have the power to shift things around on my calendar. So we appreciate that, Darren. It means a lot to us. And it's really, finding like-minded people, partnering together. And, the future of hunting are those that are coming along in our footsteps. So we want to make a way for them.
Awesome. Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, folks, appreciate you guys tuning in. Check out Darren Snow and Raised at Full Draw. If you know somebody that'd be interested, share this episode, get the information out, tell them about it, spread the word. That's why he's on with us tonight. And, our motto is nature is our playground. We always say get outdoors, and always want to get these guys out there. Remember always to stay wild. So we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.